Hey everybody, it's the Ioniq guy. Today I'm going to talk to you guys about the battery preconditioning software update for 2022 Ioniq 5 all-wheel drives here in the United States. As many of you already know, the TSB is now available and you can get it installed at any Ioniq certified dealer here in the United States. The update was announced on December 22nd and I was lucky enough to go and get an appointment for the very next day. So I've had battery preconditioning for a week now. So I've been doing some testing with it and some real world experiences, and I'm going to tell you about them in this video. So if you're interested, stay tuned. So this video is specifically about the update for 2022 all-wheel drives, but maybe it applies to 2023s that came with it from the factory. But I don't have any experience with a 2023 or factory installed battery preconditioning, so the specifics you hear in this video really only apply to my software updated 2022. So the update came out on the 22nd of December, and I went online immediately and checked to see if there were any available appointments for within the next week to get the update. And that night, there were none available for at least a week. So I scheduled one for actually today. Next morning, we have that bad storm come through, really high winds, rain, power outages. And I figured, you know what, let me just double check and see what my local dealer looks like today. And a lot of people must have canceled appointments because of the weather, and I was able to get an appointment for the first thing that morning. So I went in, they found the software update in the system, lickety split, and told me, come back in a few hours if you don't feel like sitting here. So I'm pretty close to the dealership, so I got picked up and then went back probably around 4 hours later to get the car. And I opened up the EV settings screen and boom, there it was, battery conditioning. So, yay, that's awesome. We've been waiting for this forever, so we finally got it. So the first thing I did when I left the Hyundai dealership was I input my local Electrify America station as a DC fast charging destination. And what do you know? Within 1 to 2 minutes, the battery heater started chugging along. I plugged in my AWD scanner and I watched the temperatures slowly but surely rise. So this is all well and good, and I was pretty excited about it. I didn't need the charge at that point. I already had a fairly full battery, so I wasn't going to go to the EA station and top off for 5 minutes. So the next day, I'm sitting in my garage and I'm just playing with the settings just to see what I can input as destinations to see how far out I can be before it will immediately turn on battery heating. That number seems to be about 32 to 35 miles. Once you get further than that, it waits until you get within that window to begin conditioning the battery. So this past week, I did do a road trip up to upstate New York, and I needed to make 2 stops at Electrify America stations to finish out my trip. So I'm navigating to the Electrify America station in Albany, New York. I'm getting closer and closer and closer to the station, and I'm keeping my eyes on the dashboard to see when preconditioning kicks in. I'm 30 minutes out. Doesn't kick on. 25 minutes out. Still hasn't kicked on. At this point, I'm saying something's wrong. So I go into the navigation system, and I go ahead, cancel that route, re-choose the Electrify America station, and I'm waiting to see whether that snowflake icon is going to come on immediately, because that was my experience when testing this out near the Electrify America station at home. Do that, doesn't kick on. So I said, okay, we're going to ride this out and see what happens. So I keep driving towards my destination, and lo and behold, it doesn't kick on until I'm only 15 minutes away from the Electrify America station. And at that point, I already know, based on watching battery temperatures from the testing at home, it's not going to get nearly to 70 degrees Fahrenheit, 21 degrees Celsius by the time I arrive. So I'm already anticipating slower than ideal charging speeds. So when I arrive at the Electrify America station, my battery temperatures are not great at all. My battery minimum was 51.8 degrees Fahrenheit, and my battery maximum was 64.4 degrees Fahrenheit. So I get to the EA station, plug in, and I'm only getting about 73, 75 kilowatts. So if you look at the ideal Ioniq 5 charging curve, you should be at 200 kilowatts up to 50%. Then you'll see a bit of a drop, but it then should go back up to about 175 kilowatts for a while. And I wasn't seeing nearly that. I started out in the 70s, Eventually, I think we maxed out at about 115, 120 kilowatts. So yeah, we sat there for about 20 minutes. We went from 50% to 81%. So in 20 minutes, we only added 31% to the battery pack, which is not great. That is really not good. So we got back on the road, went to our destination for a few days. Came time to leave. When I left, I input the destination, and I'm watching the dashboard as I get closer and closer. Again, 30 minutes out. Why isn't it starting? 25 minutes out. Why isn't it starting? Did the same thing. Re-input the EA station in Albany as my destination. Still didn't start, so I said, okay, we'll ride it out again. I want to share with you guys the successes and the failures, so we'll see what happens. Again, didn't start until 15 minutes out from the EA station. And this time I had a much lower state of charge, so I knew that I should be able to pump more power into the battery. It wouldn't be limited by how full the battery already is. So I arrive at the EA station with 23% state of charge, and my battery min is 42.8 and my battery max is 51.8 degrees Fahrenheit. So again, didn't really do its job. Battery did not get nearly warm enough to accept elevated charging speeds. So this was the most disappointing charging session of the trip. It took exactly 30 minutes to go from 23% to 80% state of charge. The highest charging speed I saw was about 134 kilowatts. So it didn't even break 150 kilowatts, which it is more than capable of doing if the battery had been at its perfect temperature. So there you have it. 2 complete failures of the preconditioning update on one single trip. I charged just as slowly using battery preconditioning as I would have last winter without it. I have examples of charging sessions at EA last winter without battery preconditioning, where in 30 minutes I'd add just about the same amount of energy into the battery. So that is just a total fail in my book. I'm not sure what's going on. I'm going to continue testing preconditioning and seeing if I can get it to work. My first charging session, there were other cars at the EA station, so maybe my charge speeds were throttled because there were other vehicles there. On this second stop, there was only one other Ioniq 5 there, and it was multiple stalls away, so it wasn't even on the same electrical cabinet that my charger was on. I just really don't know what happened, and it's kind of a bummer. Now, I've been reading all over social media. A lot of you have been having awesome success with it. Some of you have had horrible experiences similar to mine. And I wish I had better experiences to report, but I just don't right now. So for those of you who have the update and have charged already and preconditioned, leave your experience down in the comment section so everybody else can see what it was like for you. At this point, I'm not overly excited about it anymore. I know a lot of people aren't, so keep that in mind. Don't go into this having super high expectations because there is a chance that it's not going to function like you want it to and you're still going to end up charging for a half an hour or so. So keep that in mind. So anyway, guys, if you liked the video, give it a thumbs up, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Take care, everybody.